Tuesday, February 14th. You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm. Strong storm system moving across the Midwest over the next 24 to 48 hours will be bringing a severe weather threat much further north than usual. This weather threat will be covering much of the state of Ohio and also the southern states as usual. This is especially for the day on Thursday. A severe weather threat is also expected for tomorrow in areas further to the west. The severe weather threat will likely stay south of the St. Louis area. In regards to the warmth, record warmth is possible in many locations. Record warmth actually occurred yesterday in places off on the East Coast. We're going to be seeing more record warmth on Wednesday over the East Coast as a high-pressure area, kind of resembling a Bermuda high in a certain way, continues to push warm and humid air, unseasonably warm, record warmth up the East Coast. This record warmth will be making it into cities such as Cincinnati, Ohio, as high temperatures go into the 70s, very close to record warmth, if not record warmth. Columbus, Ohio, probably breaking a record on Wednesday. Tomorrow, as temperatures go into the low 70s over there. The St. Louis, Missouri temperature is very iffy for tomorrow as a front stalls right along Interstate 70. For St. Louis, depending on exactly where that front stalls, temperatures may go into the 70s. Temperatures also might stay in the 50s. It's really up in the air. Lambert International Airport is where the official thermometer is, but that's also right along Interstate 70 for the most part. So it's a very questionable in terms of the high temperatures, whether they're going to hit 70 or not. For St. Louis, that's questionable, but well above average either way. We have a complex storm system right now, and that's really what's happening here in the Midwest. What's happening is we have storm number 1 with tremendous intensity managed to pull off snowfall in Kansas due to, once again, dynamic cooling. Very little cold air involved in that. As it moved north, it ran into colder air and precipitation changed over to snow even without the dynamic cooling. Several inches were forecasted as of earlier today with some isolated higher amounts. That storm system is going to leave behind a cold front, and actually that becomes a stationary front, as we mentioned, right along the Interstate 70 by the St. Louis area. Another area, a secondary area of low pressure, moves out of the Four Corners area and moves right along that stationary front, taking a storm track to the southeast of Chicago. This storm system will be bringing severe weather to the southeast quarter of the storm system, which this time around includes much of Ohio, as we've mentioned, damaging wind gusts to 60, 70, possibly even 80 miles per hour is a very real possibility. Damaging winds will be the highest threat associated with these severe storms. There's a possibility for some hail as well, along with a couple isolated tornadoes. The area with highest risk, the area in this country which is at highest risk right now for severe weather, believe it or not, is the state of Ohio and also the Gulf Coast states, which is very interesting. It is not Tennessee. A very interesting situation over there that Ohio actually is at the greatest risk for power outages, even a higher risk over there than the Gulf Coast states due to the recent weather in the tree situation of Ohio. Major cold front comes through Thursday night, possible snow showers in all of these locations as the front moves through. But now we're going to talk about what's going to be going on the back side of the storm. This is the storm system which we read. There's a few podcasts back from last Thursday, and we spoke about the European computer model. This was a week ago. This is last Thursday, what the European computer model was forecasting for Chicago for this Thursday, and it was saying some amazing stuff. So it will be very interesting to see what actually materializes over here. Right now, forecasters are calling for the snow, the most significant snow, to be going north of Chicago. But the North American Mesoscale model, which is the higher resolution model, shows heavier snow amounts north of Chicago. Then the snow amounts go down a little bit, but then they go up again right in the Chicago area, likely due to lake enhancement. So we have these two areas of the higher snowfall amounts. Both of these areas, if the North American mesoscale model materializes, that is a high resolution model. You know, I'm waiting for the high resolution rapid refresh model to be updated so that the next update will include all of Thursday. We'll be able to see that. But right now, the North American mesoscale model does include all of Thursday, even into Friday morning. It includes the whole snow event. It has it as a significant snow event here in the Chicago area with strong gusty winds, and we have winter storm warning criteria for areas north and west of Chicago, but also in the immediate local area of Chicago. The North American mesoscale model is setting the Chicago up for a situation like that. The European computer model, which is in regards to, it's lacking that higher resolution. It's a very accurate model, but it is lacking the higher resolution. When it comes to things like thunderstorms and lake snow and stuff like that, we usually do need the higher resolution models, but it does show the more significant snow going a little bit north of Chicago. So, what we have over here is a significant snow that's going to be taking place on the backside of the storm system, going through Iowa, Wisconsin, and Chicago. Due to lake enhancement, the storm, Chicago as well, very likely receiving significant snow. We have the National Weather Service forecast, which has issued a winter storm watch for areas north and west of Chicago. They have not included the Chicago area in the winter storm watch. In addition, they are forecasting right now, they think that winter storm watch will not be turning into a warning. They think it's going to turn into an advisory, but things are up in the air right now. It is not as forecast. The storm track is not as clear as it usually is this far out, and that's something that could change. In general, this past winter, there have been several storms where the track went a little bit further east than what was forecasted. Even at the last minute, it still went east. In fact, this storm, the storm right now in the upper Midwest, that is one example of a storm where the heaviest snow ended up being a little bit further east, a little bit further to the southeast than what was originally forecasted. We had at least one other one, but I believe there were more. So we have, that is something to be aware of. So there's nothing set in stone right now for the Chicago area, in whether it's lower amounts or higher amounts. It's not set in stone. We have in the severe weather there's the North American mesoscale model to revisit the Cincinnati area, just to add in a couple more details over here. If you look at the North American mesoscale model, you'll see two thunderstorm complexes moving through a city like Cincinnati, Ohio. The first one moves through Thursday morning. That one is not as widespread as the one moving through Thursday late afternoon and evening. So the one moving through Thursday morning does not touch the whole area. I do not know how accurate the North American mesoscale model is in regards to thunderstorms this far in advance. The New York National Weather Service once said that the North American mesoscale model, it shines 24 hours in advance. That is the model of choice when it comes to storms, 24 hours in advance. We're dealing right now with 48 hours in advance, or 36 to 48 hours in advance. So we'll have to wait and see in regards to that. But those temperatures are, I'm getting the temperature of the 70s. I'm getting that from the National Weather Service. And the temperatures going into the low 70s for Cincinnati. Highs from the upper 50s to low 70s in the St. Louis area. Temperatures will be warm in the Chicago area as well for Wednesday. Not nearly that warm, but... And then we have bitterly cold Arctic air coming into the Midwest, but just for one day. Things warm up again, and we go to an active weather pattern again for next week with a return of some colder shots of air with chances of wintry precipitation and chances for rain as well. And we are waiting to see what's going to be going on in the stratosphere, which will determine much excitement in the forecasting in regards to the polar vortex. I have not heard anything yet. So with that, the East Coast will continue to enjoy a spring for the most part. Temperatures, it's unbelievable. Temperature, Baltimore, low 60s for an extended warm spell. Not just Baltimore. We have Providence, Rhode Island, low 60s. Boston going into the low 60s. Some of these places will be breaking records from 110 years ago. We have record heat going on even in, it's forecasted to go on even in Florida as temperatures go into mid to upper 80s. In Florida, we should just clarify that just the forecasts are supposed to be slightly less than the records. As of now, slightly less, but that's pretty warm over there. And people in the East Coast enjoy, and then those in the Midwest, we have a quick shot of snow and then it melts, and then we'll wait to see what happens next week. You have been listening to the podcast Weather with Enthusiasm. This trailer was updated at the very end of January 2023. We have two things going on. We have evaporative cooling and we also have dynamic cooling, and the two are coming together to produce a major snowstorm in the deep south. The only time you could blame cold air on climate change is when it's a result of the stratosphere warming, which is what causes all the Arctic air to come down south. The way to get a 6-inch snowstorm here in the Midwest and in the Southern Plains has always been you need 3 ingredients. It's hard to believe the numbers that are being forecasted. Several additional feet of snow is expected by Monday morning. Yes! Okay, we have a special guest on our show. What is your name?
Kitabis.
27.1 barometric pressure. Feet of snow are falling in Japan.
Oh my God.
That's a time of celebration. Just Google Weather with Enthusiasm and they're all going to come up.